the cloud. We'll try that. So I see we've got a couple of people who've already added to the chat. English 3100, business writing. Mike, you've got 2 face-to-face courses, both undergrad, a research course and a theory course, both for majors. So I bet you could use some, like kind of make a template and then separate out if you're making 2. Carol's doing nutrition 2202 and for my in-person class. Professor Ward, I see you've got writing for electronic media. Ooh, and audio video production. What a great thing to make a liquid syllabus for that electronic media course. And William Gummerson says LSA 5400 school resources. And can you tell me what LSA means?
It's just school administration, school leadership principles.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Denise is doing FCS 5140, family professional partnerships in birth through kindergarten. Wonderful. Pam Shu is FCS 2101, infant and toddler development. And Nancy Schneelock Bingham says woodwind teaching methods. Great. Nancy, is that going to be in person?
That will be in person. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then Hank, I see you've got criminal justice 3551, criminal law. Excellent. So wonderful. Welcome. Thank you for coming to this really one-off workshop. I do want to let you know that I'll be available anytime if you want to send questions. My email is navely@appstate.edu. I'll have that at the end as well, but I put it in the chat. So if you want to run ideas by me at any particular point, please feel free. I'm here to help. And we're going to talk about liquid syllabi today. Thank you for adding what you're hoping to do for your course. If you're just joining us, I've asked folks to add to the chat what course you're thinking about making a liquid syllabus for. And I'm going to share my screen and start us off with what our goals are today. We've got some knowledge goals and a skills goal, but our knowledge goals is to identify the value that a pre-course contact provides for, especially for online students, but it's actually quite valuable and good to have for your face-to-face students as well. To clarify this, why this is an equitable online teaching practice, and examine the benefits that using a public website for essential course resources provides for instructors. And our little skills goal is we'll evaluate the examples of humanized pre-course contact strategies using Google Sites. And so because we are a Google institution, that is what I used. It's free. You have it already. It's not something I had done before at all. And so it was quite easy for me to pick up and do last summer. So I'm really happy to share that with you all this summer. So let me put this on presentation mode and optimize so that you can hear for the video clip. And I did not come up with this idea. I didn't come up with the terminology. A liquid syllabus is something that Michelle Pacansky-Brock, who's out in California and works in community colleges in California. And she came up with it, and I came across her. I interviewed her for my Think UDL podcast. And so I have that if you'd like to listen to it and find out a little bit more about humanizing an online course, but it works very well to humanize your face-to-face course before you even meet with your students, and helps put your students at ease for what they're going to do. So this is a really short video to introduce what this is. Oh, let's go back. Here we go.
I know what you're thinking. I have a syllabus, and I've worked really hard on it. So why should I take the time to also create a liquid syllabus? And what does that mean anyway? After all, I already have my syllabus online in the form of a PDF, and I know all my students can access it in Canvas. But folks, the thing is, when your syllabus is behind a login screen, it may be tough for students to get to it from their phone. And no matter how lovely it looks on a computer, reading it on a mobile device is tough. The information in that syllabus is important, right? The bottom line is when we use tools designed for print products, they don't result in mobile-friendly experiences. And that's not good for our students. How might things change if you used a website tool like Google Sites or WordPress to create a liquid version of your syllabus? For just a moment, imagine being a student. It's the start of your first semester in college, and the week before class starts, you check your email and you get a friendly welcome message from your sociology instructor. It includes a button at the bottom to check the syllabus. You tap that button with your finger, and instantly you go to a syllabus that's easy to read and experience with the swipe of your finger. And you also discover something pretty special at the top.
Hi scholars, my name is Katie Whitman Conklin and I'm going to be your instructor this semester. A little bit about me, I lived in the Central Valley of California for a lot of years with my husband and children while he was stationed there with the Navy. And when he retired, we moved to northern Idaho where we now live with our kids on a family ranch.
You think to yourself, hey, I'm going to love this class. I can't wait to get started. But you know what? That's not the only benefit of a liquid syllabus. Since it lives on the web, it's shareable with a simple link. That means you can place that link in as many other places as you'd like. How about adding it next to your course description in your college's class schedule, or on your profile page on your college website, or a link on your own professional website? And you know what can really help promote your course and encourage more students to enroll? That's right, share it on Twitter. When we design with web tools, we create mobile-friendly content that supports our students in so many ways. It also lets them know we care.
So that was a message from Michelle Pakinski-Brock about what a liquid syllabus is. And I think that the best way to learn about it is to look at some. So I've brought some examples today, and I have let's see, I'm going to open this link. I'm going to add this to our chat. Let me stop share for just a moment. And I've put a Padlet together that has a bunch of resources that I think will be really helpful. And it's got a lot of ideas. Most of it, the first column is all about liquid syllabi with lots of examples. So I thought we'd start out by looking there and kind of tour around them. And then I'm going to show you how you can do this right away. Just a quick question while we're here, and you can either use the reactions tab and give me a thumbs up. Has anybody tried making a syllabus on the web before? Yeah, not yet. Great. This is then I cannot stress to you how easy it can be. And the first version of my liquid syllabus was about half as large as the one I'm going to show you. So you can start small and then you can add whenever you have the time. And especially if you want to do this over several courses, you can keep several of the pages exactly the same. Yes, and we're going to use Google Sites. Thank you, Catherine. So let me share my screen again here. And you should have now this Padlet, and I'm going to open it so you can see it, that has a bunch of resources for you to kind of just shop around. And the very first thing up on the top where it says start, this is what I hope you can take away from this workshop. And it gives you step-by-step instructions, how to go to Google Sites, how to create your site, what steps to take. So we'll do a little bit of a looking around first and at several examples. So if you scroll down, you'll see a lot of examples of liquid syllabi. And Then you can see some other teaching resources I have, like infographics, if you wanted to use a kind of UDL inspired assignments. These are just things that I have collected that I think are really helpful in designing courses, especially if you're using some online courses. If, let's say, you aren't, if your liquid syllabus isn't as big or complete as you want it to be, you might want to think about a course calendar in addition to your liquid syllabus. And that's what I have, is a day-by-day guide of what students need to do. And you'll see those over here under course calendars or a course map. So lots of resources. I'm going to start with showing you my liquid syllabus. And this is for a first-year seminar class here at Appalachian. And this is the homepage. You can put your navigation bar on the left-hand side, or you can also put it across the top, like you might see in any web page. And you'll notice I have several different sections. There's a home page that talks about just this course. So if you have different courses, you would have a different home page or landing page just for that course. And then I've got a Meet Your Instructor page that tells just about who I am. And that would be saying the same thing across all of your courses. So you wouldn't have to reinvent that every time. And a few different pages about how students can succeed, guidelines and policies, which are really important to a syllabus, how I grade, how to reach me, meetings and student hours, and then what our goals are, our target. So I'm going to show you each one of these and show you the components, and then we can also look at some others. And if at any time you have any questions, I am really happy to stop and answer those questions. If you've got something, you can come off of mute, or you can add it to the chat and I should be able to see it as well. So what is a liquid syllabus? It's something you can send to your students ahead of time. So you can send to your class emails, and they'll be able to actually read your syllabus before that first day of class. And I know many of you probably hand out a syllabus on the first day of your face-to-face class, and you might go over it, and you think that students have absorbed all that information. And we all know that they don't, that it's often something they skip over or they don't find very important. So this is really a student-centered syllabus. It's like, what is the most important information that students are going to need, and what is a way that we're going to be able to present it to students so that they actually get this information. So in this case, I've got our, I've got what the course is. This is something that might be in the course catalog. Why should you take it? What are we going to learn in this class? How are we going to learn? And because I teach in a slightly different way than many of my colleagues, where there's a lot of student input and there's less lecture on my part, it is a seminar. I explain what the course is going to be about. Because I have first-year students and they might have a really different expectation of what college teaching is. So I spend some time in my syllabus explaining the way I think about teaching, how they're going to learn in my class. And I find that's really, really helpful. I also have included some connections to me and to the university. So I talk about how our course, the first-year seminar course, is important and what they can learn from it. You'll notice I've got a lot of pictures here from our App State community. So there is a whole bank of pictures that we can use from that are professionally done, that are free for all of us as professors to use. So I just pulled from there. And then I pulled from other places like Unsplash, that were free pictures to use for the syllabus. So it's really visual. And I've included a little video. And in this video, I'm wearing a little headlamp and I'm talking about how I conceive of teaching as spelunking or cave exploring. And some basic things like, who am I? Here's how you can reach me. what you're going to need as far as technology, what books, when do we meet, that sort of information. And then situating my course in first year seminar. They're all required to read the common reading. And then I've also made with my colleague Martha McCoy a rendition of Smelly Cat, except it's called Smelly Frosh, which of course you have this on your Padlet that I gave to you. And then a really important part, this is probably number 2, is the Meet Your Instructor, the introductory video. And in that, I've made a short video that just talks about who I am as a person, a little bit about my scholarship or what I'm doing. So we get a personalized learning experience. You don't have to go into depth at all, just your background. It's really interesting to learn about each other, learn about our professors. And if I can pick on Judge Henry Wansker there, I'd want to know that you've practiced as a judge, right? That's really interesting information to pass along to your students so that they're coming into the class saying, wow, this is really neat. I get to learn from this person, or this person has, my professors traveled all over the world and taught, this to all these different types of people. So that Meet Your Instructor part, I think, is also a really important part of a liquid syllabus. And then talk a little bit about what I do. I host a podcast, and I have a family. And then at this stage in my career, it may not be right for everybody, but I find that I'd like for students to call me Lillian if they feel comfortable doing so, only because I don't want there to be a barrier for asking for help. I want to be a facilitator, not some sort of unreachable professor in an ivory tower. I couldn't have done that 20 years ago when I started teaching and I looked younger than my students and I needed them to, call me with a title or an honorific. But that's one of the things I put in the meet me, like, how do you want them to address you? Professor, doctor, whatever, or by your first name, because students don't know this off the bat. If you want them to email you as your first way to reach you, include that as well. And then you can add anything you want to these. This is a how to succeed for my students, what you can expect from me, and then what I expect from students. And I also include something about netiquette, because this is a fully online class. Now, if you're teaching fully face-to-face, you might have something different in an area like this, like, make sure you're on time, and you sit in the same spot because we'll be working in groups, or make sure that you always bring your calculator to class. You'll be needing that. That sort of thing is what you can include in here about the how to succeed. And these are things that students may not know what to do. If they're taking your criminal justice class and they've just come from a chemistry class, it's a different way of participating. They need to know what to be ready for. So those things can be really helpful for your students. And then I'll take you to my guidelines and policies. And this is usually a sticking point for many, because that's really what the administration wants us to put in a syllabus. And so far, I've been really learner-centered in what the syllabus has. And then there's this whole part about, well, the university says you have to include this statement and you need to include this liability about what to do. And so I do have guidelines and policies, but I have ordered them in order of importance where I see them. So the first policy I have is about universal design for learning. And here I'm emphasizing how much I appreciate learner variability. And so I've put that at the top rather than academic integrity. And so I'm putting that foot forward for students so they know what's important to me. Also, if they're on campus and they need food, I have information about that. Also religious observances, student engagement in courses. These are things that are policies that I've sort of reworded, or I have links that they can find out a little bit more about them. And then this is really important to me. All of us, we are mandatory reporters. So, and I know some of you do teach really sensitive subjects, and it could have to do with counseling, child development, law. And if you have a student who discloses something to you, this is something I want them to know. We are required to not let it end with us, right? We are required to send that on. So I want them to know that that we have to do that, right? It shouldn't be some sort of surprise to our students. So I'm putting all this out there. So students might have a week, a month, a whole summer to look through these, rather than just the 5 minutes you give them on the first day when they're thinking about, where do I go to the cafeteria? What is my roommate gonna be the room messy when I get back? All of that, where you're giving them a lot more time to digest all these policies and what to expect. And then I end with academic integrity, because I don't want the first message to the students to be, I think you're going to cheat, and here's what happens when you do. Instead, I have this at the end. I know it's required. We need to have this in the syllabus. But I start with trust, that I trust them. I don't think you're going to lie, cheat, or steal. But we have a policy that you should be aware of. And then this is, I think, one of the best things I was able to include, which is a link to our App State syllabus policies. So I've put everything in my own words. And this is now a link where students have on the syllabus to all those things that now you are covering your bottom with this. These are all the things that you have to, because of the administration, include on your syllabus. So different departments might say you have to include this or that, but the whole university says we need to have these things. So I've included it with a link. It underscores the things I've already told them.
Lillian, would you put that link in chat?
Yes, I can. It's on the Academic Affairs website. And let me just, here we go. It's really helpful to have. I have to move my chat box so I can put it in there. There you go. And also check with your department. Sometimes your department says you have to have this or that on it, sometimes prerequisites or things like that. I have a specific part about grading, or what I'm calling ungrading. I don't call it, sorry, it's been coined. The term has been coined by Susan Bloom. This is her book. I just had the podcast come out today about ungrading when I interviewed her. And this explains how we work on creating the grades together. But in case you think it's super wishy-washy, I also have an included grading guidelines, so students know what an A looks like, what a B looks like, what a C looks like. And here it is. Here's a grade of C. You complete all the assignments, you participate in the Zooms, you have to attend and complete the, social meetings, which is, I ended up not doing that last semester. And then here's what you get to get an A. And then students are like, well, what does that mean if I'm late or if I've missed something? I include a chart. So there's a difference between late work assignments, missed work assignments, and ignored work assignments. So I try to make all of that very clear for the students ahead of time, because ungrading is a bit different for students. A little bit about what our weekly schedule is, and I made this infographic. I explain when our deadlines are for all of your work. I also explain that if they need an extension, they can ask. And this is one of the parts about how this is an equity syllabus. You're going to have students from all walks of life. Appalachian is a local serving institution, but we get students from all over the state and all over the country and all over the world. Some of those students will have grown up in an environment where they know they can talk to you and ask for an extension because they're not feeling well, or they had a work obligation or something, as long as they talk to you ahead of time. There are other students who come from an environment who would never approach you for any reason to say that they had anything wrong, even if a family member was deathly ill or had died. And so talking to your students or getting out this information to your students ahead of time helps to level the playing field so they know what is expected and what they can ask. Because a lot of times that is you can call it the hidden curriculum. You don't realize that you make these assumptions and that some students and not others make these assumptions. So making it clear and student-centered is really important. I meet with my students over tea. I call it tea time. It's just a Zoom. And then have student hours, which is what I call office hours. We are required to have office hours, all of us, for I think an hour and a half for every 3 credit hour course. So I give them options to meet with me and then say, hey, we can meet at other times as well. And finally, the last part here is our course objectives. And I call it what's our target. So these are our main course objectives. So throughout the whole semester, we're going to have these as our major outcomes, what I want them to have 5 years down the road. And then I have labeled, and this is something that you can use in Google Sites. You can allow for the collapsible text. So you press each one of those little arrows and you get what the module objectives are. And so I've separated into 6 different modules, 0 and then 1 through 5. And I can explain to students what each one of those modules, which last between 1 and 4 weeks, what we're trying to cover during each module. And you'll notice that the module objectives in 2 and 3 combine to produce course level outcome 2, describe cultural self-awareness and worldview frameworks by demonstrating knowledge of cultural frameworks and local to global connections. And in order to do that, we have to do module outcome 3.1 through 3.5. We also have first year seminar goals. I have these here and I explain how we're going to meet them, to expose students to them and also to practice some of them. So that's mine. Let me stop sharing for just a little bit and I could just pause for questions and then we can look at a bunch of other ones and I can show you how to do it. So let me pause, give you time if you wanted to type a question. Has this lit any ideas? Put it in the chat or feel free to come off mute and we can have a little discussion. We're halfway through today's workshop.
I think this is awesome because I'm the person who's been in the classroom this whole last year and teaching her very first online class. And they talk so much about burnout with online, with like the typical things they've seen. And so I just think this is great. Yeah. I just think it's fabulous. And boy, your work that you've put into yours is phenomenal. You've really allowed me to think a lot outside the box on how to make mine so that they are already engaged on that first day and want to attend my class. So this is awesome.
It's very invitational. Like we really are inviting our students and that can be accomplished with the tone, you know, the way I start my policies with, I value you rather than I think you're going to cheat and here's the punishment. You really have a powerful way of reaching your students in this way, rather than maybe a thick PDF or, you know, Google Doc or, you know, Word doc that you hand out. That's a lot of rules and regulations. All of the rules and regulations are there. They're just, they're presented in a way that's invitational, I think, and relational. And that's part of what Michelle Pakinski-Brock calls humanizing online learning. And Catherine, do I have a liquid syllabus template you could share? Well, I'm going to show you how to use the Google templates. And then you can just add in each page that you want to create, you can add collapsible text if you want. You can add a picture, you can add a video embedded. And all of that is easy to do and free and available to you with your AppState email account. And by the way, copy, use anything you'd like. I'm sharing mine freely. If you happen to like the way I've phrased the policies, go ahead, use that. If you happen to like, I borrowed Arizona State University's netiquette, I just put that on there. Feel free to borrow and, have links to if you find other folks have said it in a way you agree. I don't think you have to, reinvent the wheel at all. You choose, borrow, take the things that you think are helpful, and you're giving credit if it's, mine clearly says ASU and I reference, hey, I've borrowed from the other ASU, Arizona State University, to talk about netiquette here. So you're welcome to use what I have, but I'll show you how to get to it on Google Sites. And Rachel says, you like the term liquid. It's because it can take the same content and flow into another format. Yes, especially if a student is on a iPad, a Kindle, or a mobile device. And so in the Google Sites, when you're creating it, you can take a look at how it would look if a student is looking at your syllabus on a phone. So it shows the desktop version, a Kindle or iPad version, and then the mobile phone version. So you can see, so I've changed just a little bit when I was like, oh, I don't like the way that looks on the phone version. So I looked at it, knowing that more than half of your students, and Rachel may know the numbers more, but more than half of your students are first going to contact you or their class on a phone. They're going to be doing it on their phone first. And then if they have to sit down and get through stuff, they'll open up their laptop. And yeah, so liquid means it's going to take the shape of whatever version they are participating in. And yes, the banner style is really helpful. You can go, you can put that little table of contents on the side or across the top. And do I have a different site for each syllabus? I tend to teach a range of different classes is a great one. Right now, I've only done it for this class because I moved online. I have not made one for the class I teach face-to-face because I haven't taught it since COVID. But when I go back, I'll be able to pull half, like policies, meet your instructor, and the first year seminar goals. I'll be able to pull about half of that and just copy it and then make a new one for what mine's about World War II art theft. So I could do the other parts of it there. Okay, does this mean you don't use As You Learn at all, or do you link it to Google Sites? Very good question. No, I still use As You Learn. Totally, that most of the course is As You Learn. However, the very top block of As You Learn has a link to my liquid syllabus. It just means that students don't have to log into As You Learn to get to the syllabus, because that's something they can lose. I've seen students get kicked out of classes because of some advisor thing, and then they've got to get back in and you have to let them or whatever. It lives outside of it. You can give to the students ahead of time. They can share it with friends. And then you've got more people in the class, over the summer, hey, this sounds really cool, and can join it. But as long as I keep it inside, so it's just like they clicked on a link inside As You Learn. So they don't have to go somewhere else necessarily. It's housed in As You Learn, but I was able to send it out to students before. Usually As You Learn is made live, on the first day or the day before? Rachel, you probably would know that. As You Learn, they make live the day before class or something. So they can't really get in their classes until classes start, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. So everything goes live at 7 a.m. on the first day of classes, but you as instructors can turn it on earlier than that, make it visible for your students earlier than that if you want to. So Yeah, either way.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let me share screen again, and I'll just show you, we'll go through a couple options of, let's see if I can get this going again, of what it may look like. So here is mine. And in the Padlet, are a couple examples. This is one of the ones I based mine on, Ethnic Studies by Fabiola Torres and Glendale Community College in California. And you'll notice there's the home 110, Ethnic Studies 120, and 121. So this one has all three of her classes kind of linked to the same document. It's really up to you. And she has, here is how you get to Ethnic Studies home, and she's got, each one of these embedded. Come up, what's up with this class, about the course. Here's a little bit about her teaching philosophy. It's an 8-week online format. That may be different than what they're used to. And you can see this is really, really similar to the format that I used. We kind of used the same template. I can also show you, I love this one, A Criminal Justice. Bree Bopri explains through her welcome video. And here are the sections. So I had mine at kind of on the top left. Here's a little bit about Dr. Bopri, navigating the course, assignments, how to contact. So here are the assignments, a little infographic about it. So this is kind of like my ungrading. Here's everything that's expected throughout the course. You can embed a PDF like this. So you can just scroll through. Here's the grading scale that she uses and extra credit. So again, this is really student friendly, a really great way to introduce your course. And this, I believe, yeah, this is Michelle Pakinski-Brock's Mount San Jacinto College, The History of Still Photography, course design, meet your instructor, class philosophy, getting started. So it can look like anything. This is kind of one long page, course policies. Here's grading, necessary materials. It's just really, really helpful for your students. And so all on this left-hand side, let me show you Clea Mahoney's Writing for Digital Spaces. She's out of New York University. And this gives an about this course right here on the left-hand side. Writing for Digital Spaces. It was a summer 2020 course. You can meet her, you read the syllabus, course calendar. And then here's the lessons, and that opens it up so you can look at each one, week 1 through week 8. And so this one is actually totally outside the learning management system. And she was doing that at New York University. But I tend to use our Moodle and just include this liquid syllabus inside of it. But she's one, I learned a lot from her. I interviewed her for my podcast. She says you should always have a duplicate, so I think she even works outside of the NYU. I think they do Moodle up there as well. So you can have all of your weekly assignments as well. And let's see. So on the far left, you'll see lots and lots of examples. And here's one from Appalachian State, Animals and Ethics. And Dr. Waldsberger, I did this, I don't know, half a year ago and worked with folks, and she created one as well about the syllabus and tells a little bit about her work. All right, so I see there's something in the chat. Yes, do you still make a print syllabus? Is there a printable version that's slightly different, or a traditional version of the syllabus that they can print, or they can just print sections? I have parts of this that are like on a PDF, but I don't have like a full other version. Students can print parts of it if they would like, but I have, in addition to my syllabus, I have, here's the part that they might want to print. I have a map, and the course map is what they have to do every week. So this would be the thing that they might want to print rather than necessarily knowing what the guidelines are for cheating or, you know, academic integrity. So usually the thing that they want to have is something like a course map. Here are the things you have to do by Friday. Here are the things you have to do by Tuesday. So I have this separate and also at the top of my As You Learn course. And so that's the part I think is important for printer friendly sort of thing. And then my, I have a course calendar. This is different. This is a different course, by the way, but this may be something that students might want to print out, and I would print this out for them. It's the what to do every day type of thing. And then I loved this. I thought this was a really great idea. This is somebody at a university whose mascot is a rhino. And so they created a course map that says what they need to do starting, you know, September 3rd. And then it goes up here. Here's your first test. And then students can do a check mark. Love this. Caution, rhinos. These due dates do not follow our normal routine. And so those are in red and they're separate. But those are the kind of things I think students find helpful to print out, is something like, oh, what do they have to do each week? And they can check off what they've done. But I have that outside of the liquid syllabus. Okay, so now we've seen, and if that doesn't answer your question, Mike, I can just let me know. So here on our Padlet that you should have, you've got lots of examples here. This infographics are about how to make an infographic or how to humanize your syllabus, and then lots of other ideas if you want to follow up. This is my interview with Michelle Pacansky-Brock when we talk about this. It's called Whole Student Learning Online. And now I think it might be helpful if I just show you how to do this. So let me go to, I'm just going to my Google Drive. You can get to this page from anywhere. And you can, because of your appstate.edu account, you can just go to this little icon here, the 9 dots, and you go to this icon that says Sites. It's a blue rectangle. And Sites is where you can go to create your own website. So these are the ones I've already created. And you can choose to have a team, a class. You'll probably notice we've looked at 2 templates that are just like this. So if we want to, let's say, do team, I've clicked on that, and now you're already starting. You're already starting how to make your own syllabus. And so it comes like this. So let's say you're going to have your class name. So we'll call it App State 2000. There's your class. And then you can write a description right here. Here's, you know, come join our class. This is how easy it is. And then you can add pictures. You can put in your own picture. You can grab those from our own list of already Appalachian State approved free pictures. You can change what you say here. Let's say learning outcome 1, learning outcome 2, whatever. You can add photos. So you can do this any way you want. Or look at how you can change your layouts. You can decide to have 2 pictures over here, or just all pictures or something like that. You can create, let's say you want to change the background. You can make it gray. You can make it red. Or maybe you don't like this color scheme at all. If you don't like this color scheme, you have options. You can change it. Here's App State 2000 with black and gold. Maybe you want it to be green. Maybe you want it to be purple. Oh, thank you, Anne, for adding where you can get those toolbox of images. You can change it like this. It's very user-friendly. So it's already a template that you can use. I think I use this one, might be how I started. I liked how it was black and yellow. You can change the colors. You saw somebody also use this kind. Oh, maybe this is the kind I used with yellow. And you have the option to insert different layouts. You can change the image, you can upload an image, or you can select an image. So let's just decide to use this one. There's the beginning of your syllabus. You can embed links, you can put in images, you can add a text box. You can move, let's say I'm going to decide to move that down here. So you can easily add things. Here's your site name. Let's call it, here's our home projects. There we go. You've got different pages that you can use. So you can change the layout of each section. So it has just one picture at the left with, you can see text over here. That's what it looks like here. Or you could have 2 pictures, you can have 3 pictures, you can have 4 pictures. You can have the button, that's what this is here, Project 1 Details, that's the button that I used to get to our syllabus policies. You can include maps, docs, you know, any number of things, a YouTube link to each one. So it's very easy to use. Let me show you one other thing. Let me go back. Here we are at sites. And at first, I think I used team. And now I'm just going to show you the class templates. And you can start with this. Here's your class name. Here's your class overview. You can add pictures. You can change the background. You can select, instead of having a color in the background, you can have an image in the background if you would like. Or you say, no, I don't like this. I'm going to delete that whole section. That's no problem. You can duplicate the section and just decide I'm going to put a different picture here. And then you decide, I don't really like that. I'm going to delete it. In one thing, that's how you move it up and down. One thing that I am a stickler about is you can add is accessibility. So you'd want to have captions. We'll do something. Here's a caption for your text. So young children playing outside. There, I've just added a caption. Or, and I should say and, not or. If you double click, you have, I'm sorry, you have an option to create alt text. So here we go. You should have a caption for your pictures or an alt text. And there we go. You can create a QR page. You inspect, which tells you if you have alt text or not. But right now I'm not seeing where I put the alt text, but I can get back to you on that one. So it's very easy to add or change your themes. I forgot to show you, here are the themes that you can change to. It might look like that. You can have it look like that. So you can choose your colors. Honestly, it took me the longest time just to decide how it was going to look. And then once I was plugging in and putting in things, it was so much easier. It was just those first little decisions that took a while. And here's the way you can add different pages at the top, or you can have those pages at the sidebar as a table of contents. So the templates are already there. You have plenty of options to do it, and it's all free. So you don't have to do anything besides opening up your email or opening up your, here it is in my drive. You click on these 9 dots and you go to this thing called sites. Now, one more thing I'm going to point you towards is this start button. So I think this is probably going to be the most helpful set of resources is this Padlet. You've got examples of syllabi you can look through. And then this is the equity syllabus from Michelle Pacansky-Brock. And this is a step-by-step how to create your liquid syllabus. So I've sort of shown it to you, but what are you going to do, when you finally get around to it next week and you kind of forgot what we talked about? Go to this. It's the top left first thing to click on, and you will see to create your site, follow the steps here. Be inclusive, incorporate diverse people, make it accessible. Here's how you do the alt text. Then publish and share. You have a little blue button to publish it. And then access to your site through the Google Drive. You can share it from anywhere. So, but get started with your Google site. And this is going to tell you step by step, what can you do? Create your site, update and personalize your site, and share. This is what I followed. I just went through each one by one, how to do it. Now you're kind of inspired. You can see what it looks like. Afterwards, you can go through this one step at a time, go back and say, wait, what am I supposed to do next? Come back here, and it'll show you what to do, how you can do it. This is all I did is I followed this one step by one step, and it says, oh, here's the button you press, and here's what it can look like. And I would have to refer back to this as I was teaching myself how to do it. So this is gold, absolute gold. And where do you find that? Go to this Teaching Online Resources Padlet, the top button where it says start. And then you see this part, go to your Google support resource, get started with your Google site, and that's going to take you how to create your site step by step by step. So I'm going to stop sharing. And we are now at 1:53. And I see Mike says, does publish mean you're putting it out publicly to the world? Yes, there is a way that it's published on the web, and then you send them a link to go to that website. But it is open to anybody to see it. If you want to just keep it within your LMS, then just house it there. But yes, a student could share it with them. There isn't, I don't think there's a way where it's only visible to you, and then there's a way where it's visible to anybody. But people would have to know the name of your class and, the title and all that sort of stuff. And is there a way to just share with the students? There is, I can't remember exactly all the privacy settings, but I thought it goes on the web. Maybe you can just send them a link privately. I'll have to, you know what, Catherine, I'll have to email everybody afterwards and find out if it's just a way to share with the students or not. But yeah, you'd have to know their email addresses. I'll have to look. That's one of those, I don't know that answer exactly. So, yeah, it might be where you're selecting, yeah, it's selecting them one by one, but it is manageable. I can't remember. There is something about publish where it's private, maybe only to you, but it was a long time ago that I first published it, so I don't remember exactly. It does feel weird to put it out there, though, I must say. When I first put out my syllabus, I was like, it's just supposed to be for these people. But a lot of people have looked at it now. Any other questions that you have about a liquid syllabus? Let me see. Again, the Padlet, I think, is our is the best, or is this group of resources I think you'll be most helpful, and that top resource is going to give you step-by-step instructions. Okay. Well, that's all I have for today. If you are satisfied, thank you very much, y'all. You can go on with your day inspired. Let me tell you, it took me several days. It took me several days to get this done. So it was a lot of deciding how I wanted it to look. and then finding the pictures that I wanted to go on there, and then adding alt text. It took a while. However, it's been great. I have 3 sections. I send it to all of them. It's really easy to reuse. It's easy to change. So it did take a while. It's a good investment, but it's been one of the best things I've done for my course. So thank you all. I'm just reading your info here. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Awesome. All right, I'm going to stop recording. Yeah.